Hello everyone, good morning. Today is 6th of April. My name is Sahil and welcome to the Hindu newspaper analysis. So guys, in the today's video, we will be taking up all the relevant articles from the Hindu newspaper that are important for the UPSC CSE examination. Now, first of all, guys, I will be giving you a snapshot of the articles that I will be taking in the today's newspaper and what will be their relevance. Okay, and guys, from now onwards into the PDF, I will be putting this particular type of table where all the articles will be listed and the importance with respect to the papers will also be written there along with the page number in the Hindu newspaper where they have been featured. Now the first article that will be taking up in the today's newspaper, it is the Antarctica bill that has recently been introduced into the parliament. Now guys, this particular bill will be important for our paper number 2, transnational governance. Now the transnational governance means the governance which actually extends the national boundaries or the physical boundaries of a country. So we will be seeing it under the transnational governance. Then the bill to ban the weapons of mass destruction funding. Now this particular article will be important with respect to the paper number 2, demilitarization plan of India as well as the efforts for peace. Then the CUET mandate. So guys, this particular article will be important for the higher education paper number 2, strengthening secularism. This is an editorial and will be important for the constitutional issues and the social issues, GS1 as well as GS paper number 2. Then making sports accessible to all, social justice, GS paper number 2, and no quota with quantifiable data, paper number 2, affirmative action. Fine, you can see the page numbers on which they have come. So guys, this particular effort has been done to further save your time so that you can directly go into the articles. Okay, now first of all, now starting up, and first let's take the GS quote for today. So today we'll take the quote from Kofi Annan, the former United Nations Secretary General. He says that the knowledge is power, information is liberating, education is the premise of progress in every society, in every family. Knowledge is power, information is liberating. Knowledge and information carries the true emancipation of the people. Education has been the premise of progress. It basically elevates the people from the drudgery, from the injustices that they have seen, and every society, every family, every nation, the progress of education has been directly been related to the well-being of the society. So guys, this has been the role of education, and we can use this particular quote in our GS paper number 2, that is the role of education, as well as in GS paper number 4 also, the role of educational institution in inculcating the values. Education in inculcating the values, we can use this particular idea. So that is all about the GS quote for today. And now guys, let's take first of all the first article. Now, understanding the first article, this article we have taken from the text and the context section of the Hindu newspaper, the Indian Arctic bill and its various provisions. Now guys, before understanding this particular article, we will be understanding some of the background information that is very much important for making more sense of this article. Now guys, you might be knowing the Antarctica, okay, the Antarctica region. Now, first of all, when we talk about the Antarctica, this has been the region where there have been no native people, there have been no indigenous tribes into this particular region. It has practically been a no man's land. Okay. Now, what you might be knowing this thing, that throughout the 19th and 20th century, the all the countries, they were running to basically to conquer more and more land, more and more territories, but Antarctica was a land on which no countries staked their claim till the World War II. Now, after the World War II, what happened? The USA decided that it will establish a claim onto the Antarctica region. And for this particular thing, actually, the USA even started the Operation High Jump. In the Operation High Jump, USA sent their troops on the Antarctica so that they could be trained there, so that in future if USA takes a claim and if there is a fighting that happens into the Antarctica, the USA is prepared. So USA wanted to have a claim and wanted to establish their troops also into the Antarctica. Now this thing would be very much problematic because the Antarctica has been a pristine land from so much of the time. So therefore the countries at that point of a time decided that we will come together and will form the Antarctic Treaty. Now, what is this Antarctic Treaty? Now, the Antarctic Treaty provided that the Antarctica region will be kept as a region for the science and peace. No country will establish the claim. Now, this Antarctic Treaty came in force in the 1961, and at that point of a time, the 12 countries ratified this Antarctic Treaty. Now guys, the Antarctic Treaty provides this thing that the area south of the 60-degree latitude will be considered as the Antarctic. All the ice caps, all the land beyond the 60-degree south will be the Antarctic. So this is the definition of the Antarctic. It has been provided that the purpose of this particular treaty is to demilitarize the Antarctica. No, this particular region should be free of the nuclear test. There should not be any disposal of the radioactive waste into this particular region. The region will only be used for peace as well as science. Today, as we talk, this Antarctica Treaty, it has the 54 signatory countries, and out of this 54, 29 have the consultative status. India has also been the signatory of this Arctic Treaty, and India has the consultative status into the Antarctica. Now guys, when we talk about the India's role, India has signed this particular treaty in 1983, and since then India plays an important role. Now guys, as a part of this particular treaty, India can establish its research bases into the Antarctica region. And guys, as of now, we are also having our two of the research bases into the Antarctica. The first is Maitri, okay, and the second one is Bharati. Okay, so the Maitri and the Bharati, these are the two research bases into the Antarctica. We send the expeditions, the scientists into these research station, and they do their research work. One more thing I want to tell you guys, see, the first research base into the Antarctica was Dakshin Gangotri. Okay, Dakshin Gangotri. Now this Dakshin Gangotri, it has been turned into a transit camp. It has been now abandoned, and the present two research bases are the Maitri and Bharati. And just one more additional information, when we talk about the Arctic region, okay, not the Antarctic, when we talk about the Arctic region, into the Arctic region we have also there the permanent research station, and that permanent research station's name you have to tell. Few days back I have even taken one article on that particular thing in our newspaper analysis. So Arctic research base, what is its name, you need to tell me into the comment. Okay, so please reply there what is the name. Now moving on, so coming back to our topic, so guys, as we have signed this Antarctic Treaty, we can establish our research bases. We have established two. Moreover, this particular convention provides us this particular thing, that we also need to establish the laws for governing those particular bases for those particular areas of the continent where we have established our bases. So we need to come out with the laws also. Moreover guys, when we talk about the Antarctic Treaty, along with it there are many of the other agreements that are also there. For example, there is the Convention on the Conservation of the Arctic Marine Living Resources. This is an additional convention, we have signed it. Then the Protocol on the Environment Protection, this also we have signed it. Now guys, this coming to the present topic, that is the Antarctic Bill 2022. Why this particular bill has been brought now? So this particular bill has been brought in so that we can govern our research bases as well as the territories on which our research bases has been established, because we can do that as per the provision of the Antarctic Treaty that we have signed. Now what are the provisions of this particular bill? One by one we will understand it. Number one, the bill gives the power that the government officials can inspect the vessels by which the scientists, the researchers will be going on to the Antarctica. We can inspect these vessels so that they are not discharging any kind of a waste, it is not discharging any kind of a heavy metals, etc. We can also undertake that we can also conduct the checking of the research facilities, okay, from time to time. Then the second provision is that there will also be a dedicated fund that will be created, that is the Antarctic Fund. Now this particular fund will be used for protecting the Antarctic environment. Then the third provision is that this particular bill extends the jurisdiction of the Indian courts onto the Antarctica. So the Indian courts, they can try the people in the Antarctica in our research basis if they have done some crime, if they have done some kind of an offense. Not only the courts can try the Indian citizen, they can also try the foreign citizens who were present onto the Indian bases or who were the part of the Indian expeditions. Okay, so the jurisdiction of courts have also been extended. Then further, this particular bill also provides for establishing the Committee on Antarctic Governance and Environmental Protection. Okay, further, this particular bill also provides that there is a prohibition on the mining in the Antarctica. Dredging cannot be done. Any activity that threaten the pristine conditions of the Antarctic, they cannot be taken. There can no be disposing of the nuclear waste. Nuclear devices cannot be tested into the Antarctica region. So this is all the provisions of this particular Antarctica bill that has been floated into the parliament, and it enhances the governance of India into that Antarctic. So we will be counting it under the transnational governance under GS paper number 2. So that is all guys about this particular article. I hope that you have understood it, and now we'll be moving to the next article. Bill in Lok Sabha to ban WMD funding. Now, this particular article will be taking under the India's effort for the demilitarization, GS paper number 2. Already I have told you this particular thing also. Now guys, understanding this particular article, okay, just a minute. Yes. Now, understanding this particular article, first of all guys, see, what is a weapon of mass destruction? The background information. Now when we talk about the weapon of mass destruction, it is any kind of a weapon. It could be a nuclear weapon, it could be a radiological weapon, it could be a chemical, biological, or any other kind of weapon which can bring the significant harm to the individuals, to the structures, artificial structure, for example the buildings, etc., natural structures such as the mountains, biospheres, reefs, oceans, forests, etc. So the weapon of mass destructions are the one which have a catastrophic effect onto the human and non-human component, and it could include the nuclear, radiological, chemical, biological, etc. Now guys, when the weapons of mass destruction are there are actually large number of treaties and agreements onto the global level which aims to ban these weapons of mass destruction, because using these weapons of mass destruction will lead to the crime against the humanity. Now guys, when we talk about the USA's invasion on the Iraq that happened in 2003, the USA's invasion on Iraq was also on this particular charge that the Iraq has stockpiled the weapons of the mass destruction. So it has been a very big concern since a long time. Now on to the weapons of mass destruction guys, there are many of the treaties also that have been there which actually try to govern the different types of weapons which could be used as a weapon of mass destruction. So we will be seeing all these treaties that have been there. Moreover, we will also be seeing that whether the India has been a signatory in this particular treaty or not. So first of all, there is the Geneva Protocol. Now guys, the Geneva Protocol, it has basically it came into the force in the 1928. Okay, and this particular protocol bans the use of chemical and biological weapons. Now, has India signed this particular treaty? Yes, India had signed the Geneva Protocol. Okay, though there are certain concerns of India, there are certain reservations of India, but India had signed it. Then the Partial Nuclear Ban Treaty is there. This also India had signed. Then the Outer Space Treaty is there. Okay, fine. It has also this has also been signed by the India. Then guys, the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty is there. Okay, this has not been signed by India. Seabed Control Arms Control Treaty. Just a minute. Fine. Seabed Arms Control Treaty has been signed by India. Then there is one more that has not been signed by India, that is the Comprehensive Nuclear Test Ban Treaty. Okay. Then guys, after that, the next one is the Biological and Toxin Weapon Convention. This has been signed by India. The Chemical Weapon Convention, this has been signed by India. And the Treaty on the Prohibition of Nuclear Weapons, this particular treaty has not been signed by the India. So please very carefully have a look on these treaties which actually take in account the different types of weapons that could be the weapon of mass destruction. Out of all these, the three have not been signed by India. So please be very careful. Such kind kind of things could be asked in your prelims examination. Okay, now moving on, what is this present article talking about? So guys, this present article is talking about a recent bill that has been introduced into the Lok Sabha, which aims to ban the funding for these weapons of mass destruction. Now, what is the name of the bill? The bill's name is the Weapon of Mass Destruction and Their Delivery System Prohibition of Unlawful Activities Amendment Bill. Now already we are having a bill which was brought in 2005, and it aims that the weapons of mass destruction cannot be manufactured. But now what amendment we are trying to do? We are amending that even the funding for the weapons of mass destruction cannot be provided. See, manufacturing is a different process and funding is a different process. Suppose I am giving money to some person X, and that X person is manufacturing. So if manufacturing is penalized, you can catch that X person. But if the funding is also penalized, then let's suppose that some another person is providing some financial help, then that particular person can also be penalized. So the funding is being banned under this particular bill that has been raised. So guys, we can see that the earlier 2005 law, it only banned their manufacture, but we were given a kind of a mandate that under the United Nations Security Council's targeted financial sanctions, we have to ban the financing also. Moreover, as per the recommendations of the Financial Action Task Force, we were mandated that the financing of these particular weapons of mass destruction is also to be stopped. So to penalize the financing aspect also, this particular bill has been brought. Now this particular bill will give the power to the government, that government can freeze, seize or attach the funds or any other financial assets or economic resources that are being owned by a person, okay, which aims to provide the financing to the weapons of mass destruction. So this is something which has been the provision of this particular bill. So guys, that is all about it. I hope that you have understood the provisions and what this bill intends to do. Guys, this particular information specifically, that which conventions are there for the WMDs, please pay attention on it. Please download this particular PDF from our Telegram channel and you can access it. Now moving to the next article. The CUET mandate warrants cautious implementation. Now this particular article taken from the Hindu newspaper editorial section and will be important for the GS paper number 2 under the topic of higher education. Now let's see that what this particular article is talking about. So guys, this particular article is talking about the CUET, that is the Common Central University Entrance Test. Central University Entrance Test. Now we have seen earlier also that what has happened, the UGC University Grants Commission had provided that CUET will be a common test over the 45 central universities in the country. Now guys, there are many of the central universities which are conducting their own procedure for admitting the student into the undergraduate course. For example, if you go into the Delhi University, okay, you can take the admission into the Delhi University onto the basis of marks that you have got into the 12th standard. Then there are certain other universities which are having their own entrance test. So right now the structure for admission into the central universities, the way is very much haphazard. Somebody is taking admission on numbers, somebody is taking admission onto their own entrance test. Now in order to bring a kind of a uniformity, this CUET will be one test that will be conducted for the 745 central universities. Now this particular test will be conducted by the NTA, that is the National Testing Agency, which is under the Ministry of Education. Fine, this is something that is going to happen. Now guys, as this CUET is coming, there is a lot of criticism that has come around it. Now this particular article is saying that all those criticisms are unwarranted, and actually this CUET will be a good reform that will be coming in the higher education. Fine. Now guys, number one, it has provided that, see, large number of people had criticized the idea of CUET. They say that the academic autonomy will be impacted. Clear? They say that basically they say that this type of uniformity or formalization will bring the quality of the education at the lower level. Clear? Such uniformity is not needed. Now this particular article had said that such kind of idea is baseless. According to them, they have said that when we talk about the institution of national importance, for example, the IITs are there, IIMs are there. Now the IITs, IIMs, they are having a common test. Okay, IITs, they have their own common test, IIMs, they have their own common test, and by that only the students are being chosen. But up till now, nobody can say that these institutions, their education standard is poor. Okay, they are the best of the best institutions into the country. So if they are having a common test and their education level has not went down, then how you can say that those 45 universities, if they will have a common test, their quality of education will go down? It is a baseless argument as suggested by this particular article. Then second thing, it has been provided that basically it has been said that basically as these entrance tests will be there, they will undermine the importance of the board examination. Up till now, the students were taking the board examinations very much seriously, because onto the basis of the numbers that they will get onto the board examination, they might be getting the admission onto the college. But if these numbers will not be considered and an entrance test will be there, then the importance of the board examinations will get diluted. Now this particular article says that the importance of a board examination has already been diluted. By why? Because still many of the central universities are there which are still having their own entrance test. Okay, many universities have their own entrance test, and actually when a student is aspiring to go for some higher education, he has to often give a multiple test for the multiple universities, because he is not sure that in just one test he can make it, because the cutthroat competition is there. So after a 12th standard, a student is giving multiple tests. It leads to a wastage of a lot of time, a lot of effort, a lot of money, because he has to go for every test. This CUET will actually make the simple much more easier and much more simple, because only one test will be there. So this is actually a kind of a reform and a good thing which has been said. Moreover guys, the NEP 2020 has clearly provided this particular thing, that there needs to be a common entrance test. Okay, so this is in line with the NEP 2020 also. But guys, at the same time, it has also been provided that the university autonomy should be taken in account. Okay, and under the CUET provision also, if the university has some grievance, it can come forward and can put it. But guys, still there could be certain things that could be done in order to do this particular thing in order to do this particular thing in a more better manner. What can be done? What could be the way forward in this particular direction? So number one, it has been provided that the UGC provides that the CUET is being mandatory for the admission in the higher education. But when we talk about the higher education, it is into the concurrent list. Okay, and being in concurrent list, both the state as well as center have the power that they can decide on to the higher education. Now it has been said that the UGC should not impose the CUET onto the universities. Rather, basically it is a responsibility of the union and state government that they should discuss this particular issue thoroughly. They should discuss this particular issue with the universities themselves, and with a kind of a deliberative manner, okay, with a kind of a consultative manner, this particular thing should be brought. Then guys, the next thing that has been provided, that see, in the NEP 2020, it was provided that a new body will be created. The name of the body is HECI, Higher Education Commission of India. HECI, Higher Education Commission of India. Under this HECI, there was one another sub vertical that was there, and the name of that sub vertical was the General Education Council. Now the General Education Council has a consultative mechanism in it, clear, so that if any dispute comes, these disputes can be solved. Up till now, this HECI has not been brought. So what we can do, we can bring this Higher Education Commission of India as soon as possible, and the verticals below this HECI should be activated so that they can solve the issues which are at a kind of a dispute. Okay, so this is something that has been provided. So this is all guys, the key takeaways from this particular article. When we talk about the NTA, fine, what is this NTA? The National Testing Agency, which will be conducting the CUET test. It is a society registered under the Indian Societies Registration Act. This NTA body, it is already conducting the competitive tests such as the NEET, JEE, CTET, GATE, GPAT, GMAT, CAT, UGC, NET, etc. Clear? And this body will also be conducting this CUET test. So that is all guys about this particular entire article. I hope that you have understood it all, and now we'll be moving to the next article. Strengthen secularism, save the republic. Now, this particular article again is taken from the Hindu newspaper editorial section, and we have seen that this particular article we will be seeing under the issues of Indian societies, GS paper number 1, GS paper number 2, GS paper number 2, constitutional issues. Now, first of all, guys, I will give you the background of this particular article. Now, guys, when we talk about the background of this article, we have seen that few days back there was the hijab controversy that got started into the Karnataka. There was a question that whether the hijab can be worn by the students into their classrooms, whether it is a part of a uniform or not. Karnataka government said that the wearing of hijab is not allowed into the educational institutions. It is not the part of the dress. Clear. There was some conflicting judgments earlier that was there, particularly by the Kerala High Court into that particular direction. Now this particular matter got reached into the Karnataka High Court, and Karnataka High Court gave its ruling. Karnataka High Court said that the hijab is not an essential practice of Islam. Hijab is not an essential practice of Islam. So therefore, we can regulate that whether the hijab is to be worn or whether the hijab is not to be worn. And finally, Karnataka High Court said that hijab cannot be worn in the classes by the student. It cannot be the part of a uniform. Okay, so this was the Karnataka High Court judgment that came. Now, guys, after this Karnataka High Court judgment came, now the petition has been filed into the Supreme Court of India, where the Karnataka High Court verdict has been challenged. Okay, it has been said that the hijab, okay, should be allowed to be worn by the students if they want. Now, guys, what is the question that is coming in this particular issue? The question of a secularism is coming. Is it clear or not? Now it has been provided that when we talk about the country such as India, India can only survive if it can truly practice the secularism. Now, when we talk about secularism, guys, what does this word secularism first of all means? Secularism, or the word secular, means to be separate from the religion or to have the non-religion basis. The idea of secularism has been imported from the West, but the Western model of secularism is different. Western model of secularism provides that there will be the thick wall of a separation between the state and religion. State will be supreme in its own sphere, religion will be supreme in its own sphere, thick wall of separation will be there. But when we talk about the Indian concept of secularism, Indian concept of secularism is not based on to the thick wall of separation, rather it is based on the basis of harmonious cooperation. Fine, there will be a principled distance, the state will be having a distance from the religion as far as possible, but it doesn't mean that the state can never interfere in religion. State will interfere in religion whenever the state feels that religion should be controlled. Okay, so state can interfere, but only in some limited circumstances. This is the model of secularism that we are following. Now, this particular article says that when the issue of hijab is being talked about, hijab has become the political as well as constitutional issue today. The political issue, why? Because, guys, there is a kind of an identity of religion that had come. Okay, right wing, fine, they are promoting the hijab issue as a political issue. For it has become a political issue, it has also become a constitutional issue, because into the Constitution of India, right to religion has been guaranteed under article number 25 to 28. Under this right to religion, can you carry the hijab or cannot carry the hijab? So it has also become the constitutional issue. Now, guys, when we talk about the Indian society, fine, Indian society for long has been a society which has been tolerant, accommodative, and today, first of all, we need to be very much concerned that today a piece of cloth has become a kind of a thing which is provoking the Indian society on the edge. Okay, it is, the piece of cloth has become something which is bringing the people out onto the streets. Okay, so this is first of all a thing that we need to thought upon. Now, guys, it has been provided that when we talk about India has always welcomed the other religions, other faiths with the open arm. Okay, the different religions came in India and they made India as their home. Even the leaders such as Nehru and Ambedkar, they provided this particular thing, that basically the modern state can only be established when there are the ideas where we give all the religion, all the cultures equal space. By this particular thinking, fine, we have also established within our constitutions the right to religion. We have established in our constitution the secularism. Though word secularism got mentioned in preamble after the 42nd Constitutional Amendment Act, but before that also the secularism was reflected in our constitution. For example, the state has no religion. It shows that we are following the secularism. Secondly, Article 27 and Article 28. When we talk about Article 27, it says that no tax can be levied for promoting any one particular religion. It provides that the state is not giving preference to any one religion. Is it clear? So it clearly shows that we are secular. Then the Article 28, it says that no religious instruction shall be given in any educational institutions which is maintained out of the state fund. So it also shows that we are following secularism. But guys, in India, the right to religion is different from the other fundamental rights. Article 25, see one by one. Article 25, number 1, empower the state to regulate the secular activities, to regulate the religious practices. Number 2, there is Article 15, which prohibits any kind of discrimination on the kind of religion. Okay. Number 1, religion can be regulated. Number 2, Article 15 provides that the discrimination cannot be there onto the name of religion. Then, when we talk about the freedom of religion, fine, it is subjected to other fundamental rights, other reasonable restrictions also. For example, your religion needs to be subjected to that it is not impacting the public order, morality, health. Clear? Further, it has also been provided that the freedom of religion under the constitution does not enjoy the same status as other secular rights such as the equality before law, non-discrimination, right to life, liberty, etc. So what this particular sentence means? This sentence means then that when we talk about the right to religion, we have given it to the people, but at the same time the state has a lot of power that it can control it. But while the right to religion is being controlled, it is being regulated, unnecessary discrimination should not be there. Religion should not impact the public order, health, etc. Now guys, it has been provided that today when we see the Indian state, we have adopted the idea of the Sarv Dharma Sambhav. But now if you read the Sarv Dharma Sambhav, it actually means that every religion can prosper, every religion can thrive. But practically Sarv Dharma Sambhav means that the majority religion will thrive. When we talk about the country, okay, the one particular religion constitutes more than 80% of the population. So Sarv Dharma Sambhav also often means that the religion which is having more number of people, it will be possible. Now this particular thing will lead to majoritarianism. This is the viewpoint of this particular article. This article says this particular thing, that it will lead to the majoritarianism. The government of India itself has notified the 6 minority religion into the country. So when we are itself saying that some religions are minority, some religions are majority, we are creating this particular religious consciousness. We need to treat every religion in a same way. Okay, majority religion cannot be a working preposition. Fine, India had to follow completely neutral model of secularism if India as a state has to thrive. This is the idea provided in this particular article. I hope guys you have understood it. And now we'll move to the next article. Making sports accessible for all. This particular idea will be seeing with respect to the GS paper number 2, social justice. Now basically guys, this particular article talks about that how the sports are not accessible to the people onto the basis of gender. Many girls, they don't have accessibility of sports onto the basis of physiological condition. Many of the disabled people, they don't have the ability that they can access the sport. Okay, the Tokyo 2020 Paralympics. Now guys, the Paralympics is the sporting event where the people with basically the people who have some bodily limitations, the disabled, they participate into the event. Now the Tokyo 2020 Paralympics was a watershed moment. What happened? The history was written when the Paralympic gold medal was won by an Indian female athlete. Fine, won by an Indian female athlete for the first time. Now this particular thing was a kind of an important moment. Why? Because it was the success of number 1, the womanhood, and secondly it was the success of the disabled people also. Now we need to continue this particular thing that has got started. Fine, we need to provide more and more opportunities as well as enabling environment so that more women can further participate and more people with disabilities can participate into the sports. Now it has been provided that the lockdown had impacted the sporting activities throughout the countries. First of all, when the lockdown got started and the social distancing measures were to be imposed, fine, the sporting events they got reduced. The sports that were taken up into the schools, they were suspended because simply the schools were shut down. 70% of the physical education teachers had provided that the students they have not participated into the physical activity during the period of lockdown, and their physical health and the mental health had worsened during the time of pandemic. When we talk about the sports, particularly the barrier for girls are there, the particular other type of people are there because of the social and cultural barriers that are existing in our society. The women's, and particularly when the women are disabled, the girls are disabled, fine, they are not preferred into the sporting, there are simply no facilities they can participate into the sports, so the opportunities are very much minimized, and there is a discrimination on to the basis of gender and disability. Now in order to avoid this particular thing, and in order to support the girls as well as disabled people into the sport, the UNESCO is launching its initiative, and the name of initiative is the Fit for Life flagship initiative. Under this Fit for Life initiative, the UNESCO will support the that there needs to be the smart investment into the impactful sport policies. Government should come out with the policies which encourage the sports, particularly the sports for the female and the disabled people. So the sport policies will be encouraged. School curriculum will be, basically the school curriculum, the efforts will be made that it should be changed and the sport should be given an importance. Then there will be the grassroots participation which will be encouraged. Okay, physical inactivity will be tackled so that the mental health issues, social exclusion and inequalities can be removed. So sports will be used as an arena of reducing inequality, bringing activity and restoring the mental and physical health. Now this Fit India campaign will also converge along with the Khelo India, uh, 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 so- uh, okay, sorry, the Fit for Life initiative that the UNESCO is starting. It will converge with Fit India campaign and the Khelo India campaign that are already being taken up by the government and which promotes the sports. Now guys, it has been provided that if we need to truly bring an impact, we need to increase the participation of women as well as person with disabilities. Okay, so this is something that should be done. So participation in sports is not just a leisure activity, it is sine qua non for the physical as well as mental well-being, and it is being promoted by the UNESCO's initiative, that is the Fit for Life. So that is all about it. Okay, I hope that you have understood it, and even for PT examination, prelims examination, it is important because such kind of things, that for example Fit for Life was recently into the news. Who is starting this initiative? The options could be there. Is it by WHO? It is by UNICEF? It is by some other body? So keep it in mind, it is by UNESCO. Now moving to the next article, no quota without quantifiable data. Now guys, this article is from the archives. It means that it is an old article which was published last year. Now guys, why this particular article has now come? Okay, we have seen this particular entire issue just a couple of days back in our newspaper analysis. I have told you recently one issue happened. What happened, that the Supreme Court had recently upheld the judgment of the Madurai bench of the Madras High Court. Now what this particular judgment was all about? Fine, we have seen this particular thing, that guys, when we talk about the reservation or the affirmative action, it is very much important in order to bring the social justice. Certain people, they have seen some injustices into the historical times. To give them opportunities, to give them level playing field, the reservation is very much important. Now the states give the reservation. However, onto the reservation, there is a rule that reservation should not increase more than 50%. This particular rule was imposed in the Indira Sahani judgment, or in the Mandal case. However, there is one particular state, that is Tamil Nadu. Tamil Nadu gives 69%, which is much more higher than the 50% reservation. Tamil Nadu is giving this particular thing, and for that particular purpose, Tamil Nadu has also placed this particular act into the ninth schedule also of the Indian Constitution. You might have read about the ninth schedule into the Indian Constitution. In the chapter of fundamental rights, you might have read about the ninth schedule. Now ninth schedule provides this particular thing, that certain laws which are placed into the ninth schedule, they have a kind of a protection from the judicial review, though absolute immunity is not there, very clearly I'm telling you, but little bit they have a protection, fine, but still the judiciary has a power that if they want it can go for the judicial review. So Tamil Nadu in a nutshell is giving the 69% reservation. In this particular 69% reservation, they have given, out of this 20% reservation they are giving to the most backward communities. Is it clear or not? Now guys, what had happened recently, the Tamil Nadu passed this, okay, recently Tamil Nadu passed the Reservation for the Most Backward Classes and Denotified Communities Act 2021, and it was provided that out of this 20% reservation for the most backward classes that are there, out of this 10.5% reservation will be kept aside for the 1 years, for the 1 years, okay, for the 1 year community. Okay, now the 10.5% reservation was kept forward for the 1 year community. Now this particular matter reached to the Madras High Court. Now the Madras High Court said that this particular thing is unconstitutional. Why? Because you are keeping 10.5% reservation aside only for one community, that is the 1 year community. But do you have any data? Have you came out with some kind of a report that these people are more backward, these people need more protection? Fine, do you have any data? Do you have any quantifiable evidence? No, you don't have any quantifiable evidence. So Madras High Court said that this thing is unconstitutional. The matter reached to the Supreme Court. Supreme Court also said the same thing. They said that the Madras High Court was correct. This thing was wrong because you don't have shown any quantifiable data that the 1 years are more backward and they reserve extra 10.5% reservation out of the 20% reservation that has been kept already aside for the most backward caste. Clear? Now what this particular article, this particular development has highlighted, this particular thing has highlighted the importance of quantifiable data as a prerequisite for the education and employment policies. So wherever any change into the reservation policy is coming, the change can only be brought by having the quantifiable data. It was not shown into the case of Tamil Nadu. Now guys, in this particular article, the entire journey of this particular law has been said, has been there. Okay, so how basically, fine, which particular government came out with which particular effort, all these things are being provided. Now there is too much of the microscopic information specifically with respect to the Tamil Nadu politics. Okay, you don't need to go into that, not important for our UPSC examination. National issues are important, so going that too into the political angle is not required. So this is something that you should know. So that is all guys about this particular article, and with this we come to an end to the today's newspaper analysis. So that is all guys for today. I hope that you have understood this particular session. So that is all for today guys. If you have liked, please do hit the like button. Thank you so much.